Hi friends, today I'm painting an elephant from Paynes province, Cambodia. It's a small commission painting for a friend. I did a practice painting and color study, and I find that the Paynes gray looks too blue for my liking, so I know that I need to mix my own gray for my final painting. I gently wet the paper with clear water, and I wait for the water to soak in a little bit. Mixing my gray by using Paynes gray and burnt sienna. 3 main keys for realism painting is to get the shape right, the color and the tonal value correct. Last but not least is to add the texture. You will see me apply all of these 3 in this painting. By getting my drawing precisely has helped me to paint elephant rank by easier. If you are not comfortable with drawing, you can trace, because drawing requires a different set of skill from painting. If you just want to practice watercolor painting, then you can trace. But if you have time to practice your drawing and get the shapes more precisely, that's even better. My first wash is very light tea consistency paint. I drop in all the colors I could see on the paper, help me to shape the elephant. This is usually called color mapping. For the first wash, I use wet on wet technique and let the gray mixture blend in with the peachy orangey color so that the color could merge together and blend in softly. Again, I wet the left ear with clear water, but my water is a bit dirty, so it looks kind of gray, but that's okay because I don't need to preserve any white paper over here. Again, I drop on all the colors where I think they should be, and then I let them bleed and blend naturally. After this, I drop on the darker pigment to the shadow area. This is how I start to build my tonal value. I start to building up tonal value on the left ear, and then I add texture, and then I will move on to the head and the eyes and the trunk last. You can start with the eye first, because when you paint animal, the eye is the focal point of the painting. But I decided to start with the left ear because I do not want to wait for the eye to dry before I can paint the rest of the painting. The eye is in the middle of the painting, so if I paint the eye first and I did not wait for it to dry and I move to paint the other area, most likely I will smudge the eye. While the paper is still damp, I drop on some pigment, tapping my brush on the paper to create the texture. Some area the paper a bit dry and I get very different texture from one area to another. Some dot look clear and crisp and some dot looks blurry and soft. Please excuse my arm because I taped the paper on the table. It's a weird angle and I cannot turn my paper. Then I move to the head and it's the same thing. I build up the tonal value, the dark and light, and then I will start to work on the texture later. I use this graphic brush size 14 to help me to paint the texture of the elephant. And now it's time for me to work on my focal point. It's the eye. The reference photo, the eye look just like a black hole because the picture is not clear and I couldn't see the eye of the elephant. But in the painting, I try to paint the eye more lively because the eye is the main focal point of the painting. If it looks just black, then the painting also looks dead. I simplify the painting by paint just the main lines, so it helps to direct the viewer eyes to the focal point. You will surprisingly see that the wrinkle on the ears, the face, they're all pointing to the eye. Another way to simplify your painting is by squinting your eyes at the reference photo, and then the picture look blurry and you only can see the main shape and the main lines. Or you can edit the reference photo in the Photoshop, turn it to blurry so that you can see only the main shapes. But I have learned to simplify my painting, so I just look at the reference photo and then I choose only the main lines and the main shape, main shadow, and then I apply to my painting. By not painting everything you see helps to simplify your painting and let the viewer eyes focus on the focal point, and there's somewhere to rest because it's not so busy everywhere. I make sure the crease around the eye look quite precisely and that it could show the emotion of the elephant. And then I start working on the right ear. The right ear look a bit more pink than the left ear, so I add a bit more of the permanent rose to the peachy mixture. And then I start to add the dots to create the texture to the ear. But again, I simplify. I don't paint as many dots as I see. And then I start to add the dark color pigment to the shadow area. And then I come back to work on the head and then move to the trunk last. So I work on the head and the trunk with wet on dry technique, and I make sure the lines on the trunk looks a lot lighter than the lines around the eye, so that the viewer's eye could focus on the eye and not the trunk. I also make a bit of cadmium yellow with permanent Sab Green and glaze it very lightly to the elephant's head. I see this green on the heads and on top of the eyes on the right hand side a little bit. Could be the color of the elephant or reflection from the surrounding. So the body and the front legs are not important area of the painting, so I just place on the pigment and I darken the area that need to be dark, and I did not try to put on any texture because the area that has more texture will draw the eyes to it. And then I start to paint the tusk. Without looking at the reference photo, I will think the tusk look ivory, but it's not just ivory, not just white. It contains the colors from the elephant, which is the peachy orangey color and the gray. So here is the scary part, but also fun at the same time. I add splattering technique beside the ear to create some movement. Usually I have to think what color I should paint the background, but for this particular painting I don't have to. Pai is an elephant from Cambodia, which is a tropical country, so it makes sense to paint the background in green. But if I only paint green alone, the background looks too boring, so I add burnt sienna, which is the color that I use to paint the elephant. So this way it's helped the subject connect to the background and create color harmony. Come back to add a bit more details to the eye using white wash to get the white area that I lost. Because the colors I use are transparent color, so the painting looks lighter when it's dry. So I need to add more layers to the dark area. But I did so many layers already, and I think I need to let the paper dry before I could add any more layers on it. I come back to check on my painting and it looks lighter than I would like it to be, so I use glazing technique to add where I think it should be darker. I also use glazing technique to add one more layers to strengthen the background area, but only to the front. This way it will help the viewer eyes to stay focused on the main area and less focus on the back of the elephant. After this, just final touches where I think it needs to be a little bit darker to help to shape the elephant. Hope you enjoyed this painting. Thank you so much for staying till the end. As always, thank you so much for your kind comment and support. If you like this video, you also can share with your friends. See you next time. Happy painting!